Apparently, it's bad for camera work. All right. Sorry, we're good. So, anyways, I did not print enough. I think I'm like 3 short. So if you could just my cheat sheet, but if you just pass them down, maybe this awesome married couple here can share.
I don't need one.
Kate doesn't need one either. It's a really, really cool one.
I have a golden circle printed in my mind.
So, if you have a pen, I encourage you to write stuff down as we dig into this. So, I think it's the first tenet of successful thinkers is know your why, correct? First tenet. Now, that has got to be one of the most vague calls to action I've ever heard in my life. Know your why. Sorry. There you go. So, what we're going to do today in the next 19 and a half minutes is try to unearth your why, but your why for your business. So, we're going to dive in with Simon Sinek. He's he's got the number 3 most watched TED Talk on YouTube right now. And I've watched it probably at least 20 or 30 times. Just getting more and more out of it each time I watch it. And he developed this concept called the golden circle, which you'll see on the piece of paper there. That this is one of the problems with businesses today, is that they focus so much on the what, or the how, not the why. And he gave various examples. You should watch the video though, for sure. So anyways,
What was his name?
Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. And if you email me or Mark, Mike Page is a huge fan as well, we'll be able to send you a link to it. But if you type...
Can we post this to the successful thing?
Yeah.
The TEDx talk, yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get it up on the page, or pages. All right, so real quick, the reason this is important is that the foundational piece is people do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And you could run that thing through just about any kind of business. And in some cases, that model will fail. Because some people are in industries like, we take like Walmart and Target, why they're in it is to make a lot of money, and they're very good at it. But their why doesn't really matter, it's just price. But for the small business owner, you cannot compete against Walmart or Target on price. You cannot compete against the big players on price. You will lose, absolutely lose. In some cases, the bigger competition will try to flush you out of town. Chico Bag, I interviewed him about 4 months ago. Andy Keller from Chico Bag said, hey, bags are evil. We need to have reusable bags. And he started campaigning toward it. And it actually started affecting the profit margins of the 3 biggest bag companies. They all 3 took him to court. And knowing that they were wrong, they tried to put him out of business. It was awful. He ended up winning at a high cost, but he won. Because people weren't buying reusable bags from Chico Bag. They were buying why he did it. They buy why he did it. So, for a small business owner, I had to add an extra step. I put myself through the same exercise again and again and again and again. This is not... I'm not going to help you find the meaning of your business in the next, 17 and a half minutes or 15 minutes. But this is the process that I encourage you to do again and again and again and again. I have something scheduled on my calendar. Every single Sunday, I review it. And it comes up recurring every Sunday. I open up that document to remind myself where I am, where I want to go, and why I want to go there. And I would say that, in combination with going to bed earlier, has probably been the best thing for my business. Honestly, I mean, I've done sales classes, I've done workshops, I'm in the business of marketing. You think I would be like, wow, I mean, my business must be exploding. No, I know it wasn't at all. Because I was focusing so much on what I was doing. I was, well, what do you do? Everyone always asks, so what do you do? I'm just as guilty of this. Hey, what do you do? And I'm going to totally pick on you. We're going to get interactive now. Michael, what do you do?
Nothing right now.
No, this is good. This is good. What do you want to be doing?
I want to be financially independent.
Financially independent, and how do you want to do that?
Some type of a business.
Small business, big business. Would it be working for somebody else? Working for yourself?
Working for myself.
Working for yourself.
Yeah.
And why do you want to work for yourself?
For my family.
And
To help my family.
okay. So we just went to the golden circle right then. What? How? Why? The what should be called so what most of the time. So what? I built one side. So there are like 100,000 other people. So what if you're an HVAC? The fact is when you told that story and shared the story with us about your wife being your best friend and crawling through. I used to do. I tend to work in roof work, and I've crawled to those places and going like weeding through asbestos and stuff. It was great. No, it was awful. But to see that your marriage can survive a trip through a roof in the middle of summer up in the rafters there, a marriage that can survive that by itself is impressive. And the thing is, I don't know anything about his price. I don't know anything about the quality of their work. I don't know anything about them except that they have survived this long. And you know what? I'm a survivor too. And they would get my business for that reason alone. Not because they're desperate, but because they're survivors. Because that is part of my why.
Yeah.
So, let's pull all this back for a second. That top question on the sheet. Who do you want to help? And I added that question, the who, because with knowing your why, it's a very personal thing. I've heard someone say, you know your why if it makes you cry. It's a very personal thing. And certain people like me, my business and my personal life are meshed like this. Other people, and rightfully so, it's probably a good idea actually, have separated their business self from their personal self. That they maintain some level of separation. But this exercise works nonetheless. You may end up going down this rabbit hole and finding that why you live is the same reason why you do business. And in some cases it might be different. That's totally okay. Mine's the same just because I have trouble keeping track of stuff. I am a consummate single tasker, one thing at a time. So I looked at this and say, who do I want to help? But the reason I came to this question is that I found that in my business I was helping people that I did not like. In fact, I hated some of them. I loved their money, but I didn't like them. The awful customers. Everyone's got those stories about the evil customer. That client that just won't go away. That nothing's ever right. The client, or someone that you're doing a favor for that turns into a nightmare. You're trying to help them. But oh no, I expect the red carpet treatment because we're friends. Who do you want to help? So I made a list of everyone I didn't want to help. And actually feel free on your sheet to write down just one or two names or companies or categories of business, people that you don't want to help. This applies to any business. And it sounds awful, but it is so true because if you're not ruffling some feathers, if you're not pissing somebody off, you are doing something wrong. Because there's certain people, in order to make them happy and not ruffle their feathers, you've got to bend yourself in ways that aren't good for you, aren't good for your balance sheet, aren't good for your wallet, aren't good for your soul. I've worked at jobs before I just felt it was like draining the soul out of me. A lot of you are probably here because you're trying to escape that place. Trying to escape that place, or have escaped and are trying to get where you want to go faster. That's why you're in this room, I'm guessing. Is anyone not in the room? right now? Good
That's
question.
crazy right there.
All right, so how are we doing on time, Mark? Okay, 10 minutes. So one of the things that, so who do you want to help? So now you flip that around and look at who do you want to help? Not who should you help, who do you want to help? And I'll tell you mine, just to get the conversation rolling in here. I want to help fellow survivors. I want to help people that have failed. Specifically, my work gets the most mileage with people, with my clients, my friends, my fans, my family, my customers, all the above. It gets the most mileage when it's someone that has tasted rock bottom. Someone that's hit rock bottom so hard they've bounced off the bottom. Those are the people that I want to help. Because that's me. I want to help me and people like me. And even though I'm very different now, I used to be, shocking, I know, I used to be a wallflower. I used to be scared of talking to people. But for my first public speaking engagement, I was 15 years old, and I sent direct mailers to like 300 people, and licked every envelope and sent them off, and had like 4 people show up. Now, two of them ended up going with the Civil Air Patrol back in high school, and I was so fearful of it, and that felt. And after that, things started getting better, and then boom, boom, boom. I like broke through to a new level, And people that have experienced that get the most mileage about what I do because they get my why. All right, so who do you want to help? It helps by starting with who do you not want to help. It helps weeds it out a little bit. And the more specific you get, the better. Like, I'm going to use the HVAC example right now. So, one of my first clients was actually a commercial refrigeration company, Bellman Refrigeration out of Seattle, huge. And he made it specific that, Nate, we're going to do this stuff, but I don't want to attract this kind of customer. I thought he was awful. I thought he was evil. What is this big business guy telling me that he doesn't want to help certain people? What if they need your help? And he's like, Nate, these small restaurants that have you do walk-in fridges, they expect a lot from us. That is not what we do. There's other people better for that. So narrowing down the focus, even though it seems like you're leaving money on the table, is actually good. It's called, and I'll write this down, confident exclusion. Confident exclusion. It's, I don't know who came up with the idea. I found out about it through a book from Derek Sivers called Anything You Want. It's my favorite business book. I love it. Different topic for a different day. So who do you want to help? Dig into it. Be specific. At the end of the day, this sheet is just for you. The public isn't going to see it. The more you let people in on who you want to help, the more I was like, whoa, that's me. You described me perfectly. Yes, I will spend money with you. All right? So next, what's the next question on there? What can you do to help them? Otherwise known as your service or product. What can you do to help them? But once again, who do you want to help? What can you do to help them? When you start with that first question, it changes a little bit how you describe it. Before, I was like, I want to help small business owners. That's fucking everybody, right? And one of the things I realized is that when I said, okay, who do I want to help? I want to help the scrappy people, the survivors, the people that are on that transition point between surviving and thriving. That little extra bit to break through. So in order to do that, I was like, all right, so how does that change what I do? The way it changes what I do is there's certain services, certain things that I was selling that I shouldn't sell anymore because it isn't serving the people I want to help. And that, truth be told, is the scariest times in my business, and I just had to go through it again last month, is when I've actually stopped selling something that makes me money. I was like, I am no longer going to do that project because that is not my direction. That is over here, not here. All right? So, how? How is the execution? How do you pull it off? So I'm gonna pick on somebody else here. Mary. So Mary, what do you do?
I work for an anti-aging company.
Oh, which one?
Nurium International.
Okay. And what do you do specifically?
I share the product and the business opportunity with everybody that has skin.
Okay? And how do you do that?
I either share the product, loan it to somebody for 5 days.
No, how do you market it? How do you actually
Oh,
execute? At the point that they're willing to buy or willing to sign up, what happens? Like what are they buying from you?
okay, they're either buying the product on an auto ship,
Okay.
or they're joining the company as a brand partner.
So let's use that first thing. So they're buying the product on an auto ship. How would you do that to better serve your ideal client? Because ultimately, with the bigger companies, they have a set way of doing things, and it's a good set way because it works. It's a winning formula, and it works again and again and again and again. So, but on the personal level, when I was like, you know what? I know Mary now, so I'm going to have that conversation with her. What do I do? What do I do to differentiate my how I'm doing business? I know you don't have to answer that question, but so how to differentiate? We've got, all right, I'll tell you how I did it with me. I asked my clients once, that was like in year 3 or 4 of my business, and I'm like, why did you buy from me? Why me? It's clear that I'm not the best marketing guy out there. It's clear that I'm not the best SEO guy or AdWords guy or usability guy or website guy or design guy. All these things that I thought they wanted. Why did you hire me? And you know what they said? I was actually at the moment, I was in kind of a rough patch. I was fishing for a compliment. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to say, oh man, you're amazing, oh my God. No. Well, what he said to me is like, Nate, I know I could do most of this stuff myself. The reason why we hired you is because you actually get it done and you're consistent. We're paying you because you are more consistent than us. So for survivors, in order for me to help survivors better, I had to inject more consistency into what I was selling. So I went from doing just project-based stuff to doing, okay, you can pay me just a little bit every week. Because if they're getting that hit in their bank account every single week, it would remind them, maybe I should utilize Nate more to help grow my business. Maybe I shouldn't procrastinate on that training call. Maybe I shouldn't procrastinate on sending out that letter or making that phone call to that important client. Maybe I should stop waiting. So how I did things changed. So I narrowed down who I wanted to help, looked at what I was doing to help them. And in this case, doing that process shifted more towards training and less to building. And next one in, how? Is it changed my how too? When you work from the outside in like this, it changed your how, but we're going to blossom back out again. It's going to be crazy. So now the tough part. How much time do I have left? 3 minutes? All right, the why. And I've already shared with you mine. All right, but oftentimes it helps to get it helps to get a lot personal with it. Now, if you've been in your business a while, there'll be that moment. For me, it was Bronzer Salon. Bronzer Salon, it was a mom and her 8-month pregnant, 20-year-old daughter, 8 months pregnant, that started a business 2 months prior in like the worst location possible. I don't think they even knew how bad it was. Doing something they just learned how to do with they had like 2 customers to start out. And I met with them for the first time. They actually started crying during the meeting. I mean, it might have been like the pregnancy stuff too. I thought it was about my awesome speech that I gave them, but pep talk, if you will. But they were so grateful. And they were probably my lowest dollar client I've ever taken on. I didn't make any money off that. But, I mean, they paid. But it was like the widow's mite. It was like they emptied out their credit card account. It's like, you're my last hope, dude. Like, please don't mess this up. And we delivered, and we pushed and pushed, and first things didn't work. We kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and finally had a breakthrough with a little business card size coupon, a little thing that would flip over, and we just changed up. It was a free gimme to help close the deal. I was like, I'll design some business cards for you, and I'll throw a little coupon on the back. It wasn't even part of what the solution was. And we taught them how to hustle it and work it. And 4 years later, they're still in business. That is why I do what I do. Because I love that moment when people feel like, you know what? I didn't think I could make it before. Now I can. I love having a front row seat on that moment of hope when you can see it. So as you go through, you work to the outside and work your way in. Then you go back out again. Now that I know my why, is how I do it. Should that change? Should what I do change? And in my case, absolutely. And it kept evolving. And guess what? As things change, as my kids grow, my daughter's 13 now, as she grows older, my life changes too. And it shifts a little bit. It's evolving, but the exercise is the important part. And I would weekly, daily, until you get it. Tattoo it backwards on your forehead and look in the mirror every day and remind yourself why it is you do this. Because during the hard times, that is the only thing that will keep you going. Thank you. All right, so
Questions for Nate?
questions. There's got to be one.
That was a great, if you have no questions, that's the perfect time.
Yes.
How long have you been doing what you're doing now?
Talking in front of groups like this?
Promoting people to move forward and
Business creation.
I've been doing it full time for 5 years.
5 years.
And I've been doing projects and side hustles and sweat equity stuff since forever. So I've always been in the business. I just didn't realize that was my business. That first job training was Search and Rescue Center in Ephrata, Washington, and I was passed over to run it, to be the student running the whole place. And I was put, well, we have one job left, Nate. You could be the mess NCO, which is a very fancy term for kitchen duty.
Understood.
And yeah, so but watching it started there. And it's interesting enough, as you look at your why, when you start rewinding back, you'll find out that even as a child, it was stuff that made you happy. And I remember teaching communications, I was teaching rocketry and explaining to them how basic aerodynamics work and seeing these 12 and 13-year-olds with the light bulbs popping off. I remember in college teaching swing dancing and teaching the guy with that just could not get it. Spent hours and hours and hours with him, and he finally got it. It was that moment. And I didn't understand that I could have both.
Yeah.
Now when I had both, that my clients loved it more, I loved it more, they referred it more, my business grew. So it's been hard. As I said, I'm attracted to the scrappy survivors because I am one.
Someone had sent something to my Facebook page this week. It was a 10-question test. You take it, it tells you what you really should have been.
I've seen that.
Yeah. You take the questions and it tells you what you should have been, what you should be doing with your life. And
What was yours?
therapist.
I can see that.
And I'm actually doing that. I'm loving people up. Yeah, I really am. I'm actually doing
I totally
that
dig
now.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.